Okay, welcome to my super late review of the Pixel C, and since this review couldn't be possibly any more outdated, I just go with the flow, and that's why I will maybe ramble a little bit more throughout the video, because I'm not quite sure what this device is actually supposed to be. Whenever I saw a review, I thought, just review that what it is. It is just an Android tablet, but now using it for 3 weeks, I think a little bit different, because it's not quite the consumer multimedia consumption device, but it's also not the productivity tool that it could be, and I'm not saying that it should run Chrome OS or something like that, but it's a little bit of an odd hybrid. I will get into that a little bit later, talk a little bit, maybe ramble a little bit about that later in the conclusion, but during the detailed part I will just see it as what it is, as what I always wanted to be reviewed, as a normal Android tablet. So let's just start off with that here. As you can see, here it stands in its full glory, looking like a small little laptop, which it just isn't. But I will get to that later. Now, let's take a look at it, what it is. A tablet, and as you can see, a very elegant one. Built very supreme. Really nice and premium, of course, since it is aluminum, it can scratch up, and this is a review unit, quite an old one, so it won't be looking always all that great. We have the battery strip here, the LED if you give it a knock. Nice, subtle curves, very minimalistic design, very nice. A little bit more on the sharper side on the front, but absolutely fine. We have the camera that I won't really talk about. It's a tablet after all. A bunch of microphones here at the top. The power button. On the left side we have the volume rocker. Absolutely nice in terms of feedback and all that. Here we have one of the 2 stereo speakers and the USB Type-C port with one port that we maybe don't see that much in the future anymore. The headphone jack. Other than that, the bezels absolutely fine in terms of size, because you will need a little bit space to hold on to. Even though I have to say I didn't really use this tablet all that much actually in my hand, because I used it with this genius little thing that is, I would say, semi-genius, because the mechanism here is absolutely amazing. It's super strong, it doesn't move at all, but you can remove it easily. You can close it up, then have it like a kind of closed laptop. Even though I have to say, then as a whole package it's almost a little bit over a kilogram, and then we already have laptops that are way bigger, way more powerful, have a proper OS and have the same high weight. But this mechanism is amazing, because I used it mostly as just a stand, and this is just amazing because you can pull it all the way back and it won't flip ever. It's super secure, absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that mechanism. But the keyboard itself is something that I'm still not quite so sure what I should think about, because first of all, the feedback is absolutely great. Great travel, great quiet typing, all that is great. It's not backlit, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's cramped, and that is my main issue, and the layout is just a little bit off. So I had quite a hard time typing on it, and if I had a little bit of a steeper angle, I always touch the screen at some point with my finger. So if you touch mostly like this, you should be fine, but I just tend to do this quite often. Other than that, they're absolutely great, and yeah, that's it for the keyboard. I absolutely like the mechanism, not so much the layout, and in terms of design and build of the tablet, they did an absolutely great job. Can't complain about anything at all here, and that's why I would like to zoom in so we can talk about the display here, because the display is absolutely fantastic. 10.2 inches, resolution of 2560 by 1800 LTPS. Not quite so sure what it is. Maybe it has something to do that the viewing angles aren't all that super stable, but still absolutely fine, no problems here at all. It's not the dimmest one, so it can go all the way too much low, so it will be maybe a little bit too bright for some people at night. Definitely not for me, because I like my screens bright. It gets very, very bright, and in my normal use I used it with only 25%, which was absolutely fine. Now the white level, absolutely great, in the middle where it should be. The deep blacks are also very nice, and the color calibration is absolutely ballers, because nice, vivid, saturated, but not oversaturated at any point. Very accurate. I love that. Absolutely top display. I can't say anything bad about this display. Absolutely love it. Maybe not the very best one out there, but I don't really find many better ones anyways to compare it with. Absolutely love it. Now let's check the sound here for a second, see what I think here. Yes, cupping will definitely help, But I have to say the only thing that I don't like so much about the sound is that it sounds a little bit tinny, a little bit odd in terms of the highs. The rest, maximum volume is absolutely fine. Of course, it's even a lot louder if you manage to cup it somewhere, which is actually not possible really. So I wish they would have kind of made something that inside that would or reflect the sound towards you. That would have even improved the sound even more. So the bass is absolutely fine, not too much, but it is noticeable there. The mid's absolutely strong, and the highs are the only thing that I said are not all that great. But the speaker overall still very, very good. Not the very best one, and I still think something like an iPad Air 2 sounds a little bit just fuller and richer, more high quality, even though it's just on one side firing. But yeah, that's the only caveat. Headphone jack absolutely fine. So I would say let's get to the performance. Let me kill off all the apps. So we are at clean grounds and just launch a few apps to see how quick that happens. And I have to say that is really fast. Apps launch super, super nice and fast. As you can see here, absolutely great. This is one of the best experiences, and I can already tell you, if you're looking for the best possible tablet, I'm pretty sure this is it. Because the browsing experience, this is Chrome now, still loading, but once it has loaded, as you can see here, super nice and smooth, not crazy smooth. It's like pretty much, I would say, the best flagship phones out there. And if you, for example, use now an old engine browser, which I am still one of the few people that does that, the performance is not all that super great, because here it's a little bit, sometimes it depends on the sites, not crazy smooth, but still top experience, and it's still loading actually. So my Wi-Fi up here, actually today, the whole day since yesterday, struggles. So let's just forget that. Today my internet is crappy. But as you can see here, apps brutally smooth. Absolutely nice and smooth. Top. The performance is absolutely great. Cannot say anything bad about it. And this, for example, is even one of the ones that can handle Google Plus. Super nice and smooth. So that is great. Multitasking, of course, you have now the double tap on the multitasking or the recent apps button to allow you to switch between the apps. And yes, we have dual window, which I will get into later in the software part. But other than that, I am super pleased. I absolutely like that. That is a little bit of an odd thing. I don't quite get why that happens. It's normal, but it's a little bit of an odd behavior. In terms of gaming, absolutely top. I won't really show anything here because there are tons of videos out there. Gaming performance absolutely top. There is no game you couldn't play absolutely well on this one. Now, about the charge. You can see it 3.5 hours, even though the odd thing is, at 3 hours it was at 98%. And it took even more than half an hour, so a little bit more than these 3.5 hours to get to 100%. So I would say like 330, 340, which was a little bit odd to see since this is not super fast with USB Type-C. I have seen even laptops that charge faster, but that is the caveat. But therefore the battery life is absolutely amazing. Standby drain, I would say maybe 1/4 or 1/3 of a percent per hour, which is absolutely top. And the use drain is absolutely great, because on one day you could get about, I would say, 9 hours, if not even more, and that was me with my a little bit heavier use, but just 25% brightness, which is totally fine though. On 2 days, I would say 8 hours, and on 3 days, even 7 hours. So absolutely great, and I would say even anyone else can get maybe an hour more. So absolutely top when it comes to the battery life. Now, let's get to the software, and I have to actually say, Nougat is not the huge thing everyone makes it think to be, because there is still, if you just look at the user-facing changes, then it's mostly the split screen. That is absolutely fine. No complaints here at all. That works great, but I won't do too much here because it will crash at some point, especially if you use anything with a video, like for example YouTube or any other video, then it crashes quite a lot. The performance would be absolutely fine, but like I said, I don't want to do too much here, just not to trip it off, to get it frozen on this timing point, because that is the case. So that is the one user facing feature that you see. Of course, also the quick settings. If you swipe once, you have the most important ones. If you swipe twice, you have more, and you can rearrange them with the system tuner. That is absolutely fine. But other than that, I actually don't see that much that I would have to point out. Of course, the menu here looks still pretty much the same. You have a few little things. Of course, the draw is a little bit different. And actually, this is, no, that is actually the stock one. I didn't change that, as you can see here. This is what you get. So, clean and minimalistic, the software does what it does. You get the latest updates and everything else, which is absolutely top. and it is a flawless system. You have all the great benefits of stacked Android, but I have to say it's not that big of a change compared to Marshmallow after all. Because in my normal use, the only difference that I noticed was the quick settings that I definitely like a lot. The split screen, I just couldn't use it all that much since it just froze too often. And the rest, there are things like Dose on the Go, which is not that handy on a tablet. But after all, software is great, can't really complain. I would still wish for a few more additions, especially on a tablet. It would be nice to see some maybe special tablet features, but it's not necessary. It did what I wanted to do, and that is fine. So let's get to the conclusion then. What is this supposed to be? And I'm not quite sure, because for typing, the experience just wasn't the best due to the little bit odd, I would say, keyboard layout, and it's just way too expensive to be just seen as a consumer device, because around 500 euros here for the base Model 5, I think 600 for the 64GB model is a lot. You don't have any expandable storage or something like that, so we'll just have to see that what it is. And I personally have to say I didn't really use it all that much in my hand, because I don't just personally don't do this on a tablet. Even on my iPad Air 2, I use it mostly in my kind of tablet holder. And with this amazing keyboard, I have to say that the mechanism is just amazing. I used it mostly just as a stand, and it is absolute. Let me get one thing straight. If you're looking for the best possible Android tablet out there right now, I would say it is this, because build quality is pretty much unmatched. Yes, something like the Tab S2 is a little bit more lightweight and actually a little bit nice in terms of ergonomics in some ways. So here it's great. It's a little slightly feels more premium, but also a little bit heavier. The display, absolutely top notch, because if you don't like the oversaturation for videos, especially on the AMOLED display from Samsung, this one will please you absolutely. We have stereo speakers, maybe not the very best ones, but still more than satisfying. Performance is the best that I've seen on any tablet so far. Battery life is absolutely brilliant. The software is top, will always be the most up-to-date one. So if you see it as what it is, just an Android tablet, you can't really improve much more. Of course, you could lower the price and make it maybe a little bit lighter, but it just wasn't intended to be that. But it's not the productivity machine out there, mostly because of the Android system. If you are someone who can be productive with Android, absolutely no problem, you will get your stuff done. But I personally don't see Android as anything else than just a media consumption device, social media interaction device. Browsing and all that is possible, but if I have to make an email or so, I mostly do that on my phone. If it's just a quick one, if it's a longer one, I do it on my PC. But using this keyboard for an extensive time is just something that I personally didn't find to be all that comfortable to use. So maybe you can answer me what you think of this device, because for a lower price, because it wasn't sale for once, 35% off, and I thought about getting it, but I just didn't know the quality back then. If I would have known back then how amazing it is as a tablet, then I think I maybe would have bought one, but I just wasn't sure. So on this side it's covered, but you have to really know as what you want to use it. If you want something that is amazing for an Android tablet, but you have some lighter productivity capabilities with the keyboard, after all, since typing on a proper keyboard for a long experience time is the better solution on a tablet after all, and that is the right one for you, this could be a nice solution. But just don't forget one thing as well. This is about 1 kilogram, and for 900 grams you can already get something like the Zenbook or Koi. That one costs even double of this one with the whole package, since the keyboard is about 170 as well additional. And then you get something a lot more capable though, because you get an i7, you get an SSD and all that. And this in the end is still just even though maybe the best Android tablet out on the market, which is something that I'm just not quite so sure what they intended to. If this would have run Chrome, I don't know if I would have liked it any more better, because Chrome OS is just something I still didn't use. And like I said, I will ramble in the end a little bit, because hardware, top. Software for an Android tablet, top. Everything is absolutely top. But I just quite don't see it being useful for the normal user. A little bit strange. I just can't get a quiet solution. I would maybe have to use this for half a year or so to maybe see the benefits over a normal tablet, which I at the moment just don't see, especially in terms of price. It is quite heavy after all. If you find it for a great price, if you know what you're getting into, you will get a great experience, believe me that. But if you think this is the maybe hybrid between a productivity device and a media consumption device. I am not quite so sure about that, and that's where I want to leave it. I hope you enjoyed this review. It was a little bit odd, but since it won't get many views after all, since it's so outdated, that is fine. But leave me any comments what you think about it, what you think the purpose was, and what you think maybe a tablet like this in the future could become with Android getting more powerful, maybe in the future. But just adding split screen did not just do the task yet. Okay, until next time, bye.